Back with more Once Upon a Time. This is episode 22 of season 5, and potentially part 1 of the season finale. I don't know if it's necessarily like an official part 1 or it's just like the penultimate episode. Who can say? But I know there are 23 episodes this season, which I think is the longest season yet. But yeah, here we are. It's been a little while since I've watched Once Upon a Time. Mix of factors as to why. I needed to grieve and get over how pissed off I was at the last episode, killing off Robin and wasting him entirely. And then just on top of that, things have been, life has happened, basically, in many different ways. And if you have seen a separate update video from me recently, you know that, the channel and everything isn't doing particularly well anymore, and hasn't been for a while. So I'm kind of having to go part-time with this rather than full-time, so cutting a lot of things out and down and stuff like that. But I am going to keep up with Once Upon a Time because, I've been doing it for so long. It feels right to keep going with it, and I do, I want to see how it ends, and I want to share the rest of that journey with you guys. So, it hopefully means, because I'm kind of dropping most of the shows that I was doing, or planning on doing, there's going to be, a lot less big-ass gaps in between these episodes, hopefully. Because, I've been on season 5 for a very long time now. But all the people who got very impatient with that, I think, have long since dropped the channel. So thank you to those of you who have been very patient and understanding and, like how long it sometimes takes me to get to things. But we're still keeping on with it. And I am very intrigued to see how this season's going to start to wrap up. Hook is back and alive. Robin is not alive. Hades is not alive. So yeah, I'm intrigued to see how things are going to probably escalate even further in this penultimate episode of the season. And what the finale's been building towards all this time. So yeah, should be exciting. I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to happen, regardless of, poor Robin. I'm never going to get over it. But, Regina must suffer, I guess. Thanks Once Upon a Time, because I'm suffering too. But anyway, let's just get into the next episode. Same.
What happened with Hades that can't exactly be easy.
No, they're both going through it.
Robin's death, it can't be easy for him.
And seeing you back when that's not possible for him.
Fate is cruel.
Yes. So are the writers.
I need more power. I need all of it.
Unlimited power!
So we should talk somewhere quiet. It's kind of delicate.
Shit.
Whoa! Is everything okay?
Okay.
Oh. Felt delicacy.
What am I doing here? Delicate as always.
I mean, that wasn't her fault.
With that crystal, he can harness all of this town's magic for his own purpose.
Gold already
Bloody
has
hell.
power.
You're worried the evil queen is about to come out to play. No, I just want what's best for you. No, you don't.
I mean, you are worried
when
about
you're
that.
upset, we follow you to hell. But when I'm upset, I get a timeout. Okay. You're
She's
gonna
not
be
wrong.
easy to think-
I used to think there was light and dark magic, but it's all bad. Look around this shop.
Oh man, he's kind of like lost his belief. Is he gonna like write magic out or something? Oh.
Why are we going to take it out of Storybrooke?
To destroy it.
Can't you just write that it was destroyed? That's gonna be messy.
What happens if Henry succeeds?
Considering this town is built with magic, what do you think will happen?
He would never destroy magic if he knew it could hurt us.
I think after all those times he ran away, I wouldn't put a GPS app on his phone.
It won't be a problem if we send you home now.
We? I think you mean me, dear.
This time send on the portal without the twister.
Henry hit his phone in one of the seats. He wanted us to think he came to Boston.
Ladies, real minds.
He is getting smart.
Regina!
Oh.
Well, over now was our magic. So was Henry. With the crystal.
Are you sure Regina won't mind us leaving without a goodbye?
Aww.
Understand?
Aww.
For Regina.
from one of my papa's arrows.
Sweet. You should cherish it.
Aww. If anything happens to Roland, I'll kill everyone in that show and then myself. Uh-oh. Poor Granny. All on her own.
Now that there's magic in the world, this just might work.
That's a cool representation of, like, tracking him.
Of course, it'll work. I hope Cole doesn't know that yet.
Smash cut to him just in the back seat, like...
He's trying to find a way to protect himself in case his dad found him.
He thought the best way of doing that was by destroying magic.
But magic is dangerous. If I help you, I'll be punished.
Punished? By who?
By me.
No. Oh! I see. I like the idea that magic is often, like, the threat in this show, but now it's, like, under threat.
Why are you really here?
Oh! Sam Witwer.
What does the Dark One want? You know the bloody crocodile.
Oh.
Did you find something?
Oh.
What is it? You okay? It's a letter from Robin to me.
You opened your heart to love and let it change you. And no matter what separates us, I know you'll always be the heroine woman I fell in love with.
Oh.
Regina? You okay? What did it
Pain.
say? So wrapped up worrying about how you'd react to Hook, I wasn't there for you about Robin.
No. You were trying to tell her how she felt.
You went up to the precipice, but you got pulled back before it consumed you. I was consumed. I know it's right, but it always leads to loss for me. Yet I keep doing it now, and I keep suffering. There's no redemption for me. There's
I
no
don't think that's
suffering.
true.
Because now I have a curse. A curse of knowing the difference between good and evil, and I'm caught between them. I have to live with my past darkness. And all that's well deserved consequences. I don't believe that. I believe in you. I'd rather suffer and see that pain on the people I care about.
Oh.
This is my fate.
Wow. That was a really good scene.
He's at the midterm library. What are they doing there?
Of course.
Henry, what did you find?
These books, they all look exactly like my storybook.
Oh.
They're magic.
Volume 2.
New York.
Wait, Henry, you told me that all the stories in your book are real.
Yeah.
So maybe.
These are all real too.
Oh, that's where the others are.
I might be able to get the magic you need. If you'll make a promise to me first.
Tell us anything.
When you leave this place, promise you'll take me with you. You'll have to give the pieces to me so I can fix it there. Then I'll bring them back.
Please understand, that wand is our only way home. Okay, so
Yeah, that's a lot to
why
ask.
should we trust you?
This is a bad plan.
It's the only one we've got.
Classic Snow White hope.
The Holy Grail. He said it was the source of all magic. And it looked just like that. This looks kind of like it's twin. And if the Grail really was the beginning of all magic,
That's the end.
This might be the end of it.
Oh.
Stand back. You're right.
Well, we hope.
This will destroy magic. Hello, Henry. Finally get behind me. You're not getting this. Not without a fight.
To magic on our knees.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, he can make that look easy.
What are you doing in here?
The warden wanted me to fix this. It's a surgical instrument.
Well, if that's true, you won't mind me asking the warden himself.
No.
Oh, is it Jekyll and Hyde? Oh.
The Doctor isn't the only one who will be going to this storybook. We all will.
Oh. Oh, wow. Damn, that's cool.
You thought she was gonna go all evil queen again.
I'm sorry, I should have trusted Regina.
But you didn't. Because you know how it goes for us. Magic took away my dad. And it took away Violet's mom. And I don't know what I would do if it took away one of you. Don't. Just don't. But we didn't find anything. It was just a waste of time.
Hmm.
He's not gonna get that magic back to anyone. He's gonna keep it all for himself.
Well, yeah.
Then what are we doing? Taking something that will give us the power we need.
I think you finally understand that everything I've done for you and our child.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
I just so happened to get all the power for myself. Once again, you chose the magical thing and the powerful thing.
If the Dark One ever wishes to see his wife again, we'll have to do exactly as I say.
Well, okay, really good episode again. I'm really liking the kind of setup for, where the finale could lead, because the kind of shifts in power throughout the whole episode I thought was really cool to watch. It seems like Henry's kind of ahead of everyone, and then, Emma and Regina work out where he is, but then Gold's showing up in New York as well, and overhears where Henry is, gets to him first, and then Mr. Hyde at the end there as well, with quite the threat, I guess, against Gold. So yeah, it's just his whole cycle, isn't it, of being the Dark One, and ultimately it kind of screws you over with the number of enemies you make, and there's always someone else out there that has been wronged by him, and that's obviously happened to Regina as well during when she was the evil queen. So I like that they're kind of exploring the consequences of past / current evil actions, more so past for Regina and present for Gold. So I like that, and the idea that Henry's fed up with magic and wants to destroy it, and has some clues from when Neil was alive. I think he was like, he promised me not to tell anyone, not even my mum knew, probably just because they thought of it for this. But I actually think it makes sense that that is something that Neil would try to do. So I did like all of that. I thought that was a really interesting idea, that magic itself could be like under threat. And through absorbing all of Storybrooke's magic into that crystal, it kind of allows magic to appear in other worlds, and they could use their magic in New York and stuff. That was really cool and an interesting idea. And just I guess something to really change up magic's role in the show, even if it is just for these past these final few episodes of this season. I like that they could change it up in that way, and it forces the characters to kind of think outside the box and do different things. And in terms of Zelina being unable to just fix the wand because she doesn't have the potions, and she might not even get her magic back then anyway if they do. Those kind of characters are then forced to maybe trust people that they otherwise wouldn't have needed to, ultimately as it turned out, Dr. Jekyll. And yeah, just the shift in power dynamics I thought was done really well in this one. I liked the plot line of Henry. As sad as it is that Henry's losing his faith a bit and losing that hope, and he just wants to get rid of magic. I don't know if they are going to explain why he couldn't just write in the book that magic didn't exist anymore, instead of just being oh, I have the crystal. Maybe because the pen itself is a magical object, it couldn't write itself out of existence, because then if it didn't exist anymore, the magic wouldn't hold. Maybe I doubt they will explain it, but I suppose they don't really need to. You can just kind of talk yourself around why that might be. But also, it just means for a cool story, so why not? So yeah, I liked Henry and Violet kind of teaming up and then re-exploring that kind of brief connection we saw with them earlier in the season, you know. And I think that ties into the fact that Henry's kind of getting fed up of magic. I think that's showing him, you know, he's growing up a bit and he's becoming a bit more mature. He doesn't see everything as like this fairy tale anymore because of all the losses and all the pain that they've all gone through because of it. Then the fact that, you know, he's now old enough to kind of have maybe a serious love interest involved in things as well. All that's tying into Henry just kind of maybe moving away and distancing himself a bit from, you know, magic and childhood, I guess. So I think that's really cleverly done to bring Violet back into it at this stage and have them kind of bounce off each other as characters. So I liked that, and, you know, using the first half of the season with the whole Camelot setup to introduce the idea of like there's an evil twin or just like an anti-twin of, you know, the Holy Grail that could end all of magic, and Henry's kept that to himself, so I'm guessing that's going to play into things at some point, maybe be a solution later on down the line. I can't see them getting rid of magic entirely. I'm sure there's going to be a way around it so that Henry changes his mind, but I guess we'll see how it goes, because, you know, it'd also be a very good way of stopping Gold and shutting him up, but if we do it right now, he couldn't wake Belle up, and that's bad. So there's going to be a weird balancing thing there. I am intrigued to see where things end up in terms of like the standings of magic and everyone's power by the end of the season, because, you know, Gold took so much of it for himself in this one, immediately came back to bite him in the arse, as it always does, because now you know, Dr. Jekyll had got his own back on him, and has kind of kidnapped Belle, or the Belle Cube. So exactly what they're going to negotiate, I'm intrigued by, and I do like the addition of Jekyll and Hyde. I think that's a cool story to bring into it. I like when they kind of go for the more unexpected ones. You know, it's not just like the classic fairy tale stories that, you know, Disney make movies about all the time and stuff like that. Very much like when they did Frankenstein. Was that like season 2-ish maybe? You know, maybe not what you'd instantly think of when you get pitched the idea of Once Upon a Time. So I think, you know, having the Jekyll and Hyde dynamic there was cool, and I thought, you know, with looking back in terms of the aesthetics they went for and all the setup there, I thought, you know, there were a lot of hints, I think, that maybe you could have guessed what that was as it was happening. But if you aren't that aware of the story, they also do show you the page of the book. And the addition, like a Once Upon a Time Volume 2 book, is also interesting, because that just opens a whole other realm, maybe quite literally, of possibilities for stories to explore. So that's intriguing as well. Like, just the whole standings of the threat against magic, the addition of all these new stories, it feels like there could be like a huge game changer to this world coming up, and I think that would be interesting as a way of like keeping things fresh, because I know there's still another 2 seasons, so exactly, you know, they probably want to change things up a bit every now and again. So yeah, I enjoyed everything with that very, very much, and I'm excited to see where that goes. I thought the actors playing Jekyll and Hyde were great. I feel like I recognise Jekyll. I think Hyde is Sam Witwer, who I've seen in a few things. He's very good. And I did like what they kind of brought with that performance. I thought that was an interesting take on the character, and I'm excited to see, you know, what role that they'll play in the next one. Along with everyone else, you know, and there's a whole storm coming, really, if they want to get, you know, force Gold to bring maybe that entire kingdom that they're in, that entire kind of realm, I guess, back to Storybrooke, you know. It feels like a big shift is coming, so that's exciting. And how, you know, Zelina and Snow, David, how they're all going to get out of that messy situation right now, how they're going to handle that. I do like that, you know, we have a few little groups of characters on separate missions right now. It's probably just the best way of balancing the cast, so that we don't have half of them just stood there maybe saying a line or two once an episode, like breaking them up and giving them separate plot lines, like the addition of Jekyll and Hyde, which gives, you know, like Hook and the others something to focus on, while Virginia and Emma go off on their own and then, you know, reunite with Henry and Violet and stuff. You know, I think that's very well balanced, and definitely I think justifies having like an episode 23 to this season as well, because you imagine them trying to do all of this and wrap it up in the same episode. You know, I think pacing wise it definitely would have gone a bit too quick, or maybe they would have carried it on to another season, I don't know. But I think, you know, pacing wise of this story, I think this is a really interesting, really well done setup for the final episode of the season. It definitely feels like a big culmination of, the first half of Camelot, which was basically all wrapped up, with them killing Arthur as well a few episodes back. But the additional plot thread of the Holy Grail having a twin, I think that, a nice way of also reminding us of that as they wrap things up, and just yeeting all the other characters back home. Turns out that she could just make a portal for them all this time. They've just been waiting around to go home. So that was that. So I'm guessing Merida and all that, they're just all gone, and maybe that's that for them. I don't know. It seemed like there was only really Granny who was left in Storybook at the end there, but maybe there were a lot of people who also just didn't want to go back to the land with magic yet or ever. So, we'll see what the situation properly is, I guess, by the end of this season. But yeah, I liked everything with that. The scene with Roland, when he said goodbye to Zelena and left her like a bit of Robin's arrows for Regina. That was so sad. I'm glad they did kind of have that kind of emotional beat with him again. 'Cause again, that feels like maybe wrapping up, Roland on the show. And it's very sad. But I thought that was a really lovely scene. Got a few tears bubbling to the surface there. So I did enjoy that. And then the whole Emma-Regina relationship, which has always been very interesting, the shifts and ups and downs with that. I do think it was a bit weird that Emma was scared because of Hook coming back and stuff, and Regina losing another love, and remembering what Regina was like when she had lost her love when they first met, worrying that was going to make Evil Queen resurface. I feel like it's a shame that Emma thinks so little of Regina after all this time, and how much she's grown and changed, and especially with her own arc this season, it feels very, very weird that she didn't see, or try to see at least, even for a second, the best of Regina there. That does feel like she's just ignoring her growth, and putting her own fears and projecting them onto Regina. So that was a bit weird. I can kind of see where she's coming from with the worry, but the fact that she was kind of sticking to that to the point where she's going to bench Regina and not let her in on this mission felt very strange to me, and a bit reductive of Emma's knowledge of Regina's growth, especially because she'd also become a Dark One this season, and she was bouncing back from that. The fact that she should have really understood what it's like to come back and not want to go back to that point, and she thinks Regina would, even with Henry and everyone in the picture. It was a bit of a shame in terms of Emma's character, but it's not totally unjustified until I don't know why she would think that. But I do wish she thought more of Regina after 5 seasons. But there you go, it is what it is. I did like Regina kind of standing up for herself and kind of explaining what her situation is like with she continues down the path of good, which she knows is right. She still loses people anyway, and she has to live with her past regrets and kind of deal with all of that, which is something Emma should be able to relate to, but I guess they didn't tap into that because Emma still needs to doubt Regina. But then also, if she then goes back on full Evil Queen mode, she'll lose everyone she loves because, Henry wouldn't like her doing that, and, she's kind of stuck in the middle of it. She doesn't necessarily enjoy being good, but she knows she doesn't want to be evil anymore. I think that was a really interesting kind of, this is where Regina's at right now. And I'm glad they kind of took the time to really explore that. And I thought it was a really well written and well performed scene, and that was definitely one of the highlights of the episode for me, along with the Roland scene. So yeah, that was, again, I love it when they examine Regina's character and how far she's come, and just the little moments showing that these characters have really grown, which is why I think it was a bit of a shame when Emma just underestimated her so much. But a little scene at the start where Snow's kind of comforting Regina and Zelena's kind of comforting her as well, because she's still grieving Hades and all of that went down. That was really nice. So yeah, loved what they did with Regina in this one, and using blood on the map to track people down relatives. I thought that was a clever idea and something they can only do because there was magic in New York at the time. All really well done and really cool. Or magic in Boston was it at the time. So yeah, liked everything with that. And I did appreciate Em and Hook trying to break the news gently to Regina that Hook was back and alive, even though Robin can't come back. But then Gold kind of forced the hands a bit. Again, that whole situation could have been handled better, but it is what it is. And then Gold is up to his usual shenanigans. I'm just done with him at this point. Even at the end there, a portal's coming. Oh, which one should I go for first to make sure it's safe? The magical object, of course. What a surprise, the thing that's giving him all the power. Not his wife and unborn child trapped in a cube. No. But, that's just Gold's character, isn't it? That's very true to his character. That doesn't go against his character by any means. And it's not like he doesn't care for Belle and his unborn child, because of course he does. But he's constantly picked power over them for 5 seasons, so why would he stop now? And yeah, if anything, deserved. And I'm glad that, it's not just, we need to stop Gold, as like the end of the series again. I like that maybe with the addition of, Mr. Hyde making some demands, Gold's going to be forced to, maybe come back down to earth for a bit and examine his hubris. So I'm hopefully excited for that change of pace and not to just have Gold still have all the power again. But I'm intrigued by where they're going to wrap up with the whole Belle situation. Is she going to, come out and wake up in this finale? I'd hope so, because again, she hasn't really been around a lot and been used a lot. But I think that's because the actress was pregnant at this time, so they kind of wrote that into it. But it would have been nice to see like a proper appearance from her in the finale. But I guess we'll see. So yeah, either way, this was a really, really great episode. I really enjoyed it. Some really great stuff, particularly like Regina's character, and the scene with Roland was great. I love the addition of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde and that whole world that they're in. And I thought that final shot when they zoomed out on it all, that looked really cool and inventive. I loved how it looked. And yeah, the idea of like magic being under threat and Henry kind of losing faith in that, him teaming up with Violet, all of it. It was all really, really good stuff. So I'm excited for the finale and how they wrap all this up and set up season 6. Yeah, it does feel like they're going to change the status quo of the show a bit here with this story. I hope they stick the landing on that, because I think the setup's been really, really cool. And I look forward to seeing where that goes. But that is going to be everything for now. Hopefully I won't keep you waiting too long for the finale. It shouldn't be too long, but yeah. Really enjoyed this episode. Can't wait to see how season 5 wraps up finally. It's been my white whale trying to get through this season for a while because of life, but we're nearly there. So that's exciting. And until my next reaction, thanks for watching.